Hey guys, it's been a while since we've time to put a vid out here. However, now we're in full, I can't believe it's not a lockdown mode. So you're unfortunately stuck with me for the foreseeable future because
all organised social indoor and outdoor events of any size are not to take place.
Or in other words, we're all sick to death of seeing your stupid fucking Instagram pictures. Fucking idiots out walking in groups, queuing for shit chips. Out in the park having a big bag of cans with the lads when the nation needs to be having a big bag of can knots. I won't ask you twice, get the fuck indoors and flatten this curve. So how the fuck did we get here, boys and girls? Look, when the virus first touched down in Ireland, in retrospect, I think it's fair to say we didn't take it as seriously as we should have. So the first week of March kind of ended up being the sure, isn't this all a bit mad phase?
Which is about identifying and containing all cases.
Where lots of people hadn't quite grasped the severity of the situation, and instead of focusing on things like, why the fuck aren't people being tested when they get off the planes from affected areas? They instead got distracted by things like, shocked to see how many students are going on fancy school tours to Italy now, when the furthest we ever went was to Dublin Zoo, and all the animals were asleep. I don't even... Niall, I think it's time to let that go, alright? Good man. Meanwhile, our dearest neighbours somehow made a bigger balls of the reaction than we did. Lost in some sort of weird fucking post-Brexit ego trip.
Am I still shaking hands? Yes.
I was at a hospital the other night where I think there were actually a few coronavirus patients, and I shook hands with everybody.
Hi folks, I want to bring you up to speed with something that's happening today, which is that I've developed mild symptoms of the coronavirus.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. Coronavirus means coronavirus.
And I want to thank everybody who's involved.
And while both our governments were scrambling to get accurate information out to the public regarding containment, the first wave of misinformation was already causing all sorts of fucking havoc online. I had this exact same virus at Christmas and was fine again in no time, and so was me. Fuck off, Samantha, no you didn't. And then we spent the next week looking at clusters on the map of Ireland, debating where it might pop up next based on Dublin, Cork, Sligo. What is COVID-19 doing in Sligo? I don't fucking know, Gary. Maybe it wants to go mountain biking. I thought it only did big urban areas. And somehow this got 11 likes. Lads, you do know we're talking about a highly infectious respiratory disease here, and not fibre optic broadband, right? And it's around this point that the government got its shit together, finally, and we're like, this is getting out of control, so we're shutting down all the schools and colleges, and there's no more mass gatherings over 100 people allowed, but don't panic, and please, only take heed of official news sources. But I think people just heard the word panic, so they listened to this fucking Goobatron instead.
In relation to lockdown, we'll take what I'm going to tell you as gospel next.
And who is this gospel according to?
My best friend was in a meeting today.
Well, that's enough fucking evidence for me. I'm going to send this message to every single bloody WhatsApp group I've ever been connected to. So people panicked and hit the supermarkets in droves, fearing that the army was about to shut down all shops, so they stocked up on all sorts of items that they didn't really need. And the virus likely spread far and wide as people queued at the checkouts. And then some of the shoppers must have decided, I don't know, to go out and celebrate how immaculately clean their arses will be for the next fucking 3 weeks. So they decided to cram themselves into tiny pubs and have a wee sing-song. Sure, we might as well for the night that's in it. Joined by the thousands of people who'd been at the Cheltenham Festival. So the government had to intervene again and be like, the 100 people per venue thing wasn't a fucking challenge, you gobshites. So the next day they shut down all the pubs. And I think it's at this point the country buckled up good and proper. Which brings us neatly to the holy shit, this is actually happening phase.
Ireland is expected to end up in the mitigation phase if there's significant and ongoing person-to-person transmission in the community.
Everyone realised this was a shared national hangover that could only get worse. Regretful recent travellers like me realised we'd have to strictly self-isolate for weeks. Claire Byrne realised she'd be soon living in her garden shed. Simon Harris realised he hadn't slept since February, and the shit hadn't even hit the fan yet. And finally Eamon Ryan realised
you don't win friends with salad.
Or let's get every south-facing windowsill in this country and let's plant our seeds in the next week, so that if there is any supply crisis in fruit in 2 or 3 months' time when this really hits hard, we'll have our salads ready to go.
And sure, then before we knew it, it was St. Patrick's Eve.
A happy and peaceful St. Patrick's coronavirus.
So the paradeless, partyless day arrived and our streets were rightly empty, but it was still a depressing sight. And then Big Bird on a quad bike showed up to bring us hope in these dark times.
Let them say of us, when things were at their worst, we were at our best. EOI.
And look, I know a lot of people dislike our caretaker Taoiseach, but this was a much needed pep talk at the right time for a nervous country heading into a storm that even the harshest critic has to admit was probably the second best motivational speech of the week after this guy.
And this is your biggest fight ever yet. I know for facts you will beat the coronavirus. Keep strong, pal, and this is for you. Plenty of Panadol.
Then something terrible and unexpected happened that threw an almighty spanner in the works. The fucking sun came out last weekend. We've barely seen the sun in about 6 months, to be fair, so I suppose there's no harm going out and checking to see if it still exists. But not all at the same time, lads. So lots of fucking twits flocked to the beaches and beauty spots to soak in the rays in unsafe numbers, once again endangering the lives of the people we need to be protecting right now, which pissed off Conor McGregor so much, out of the blue.
Here comes a new challenger!
He went and released a statement.
I would like to address my nation. True lockdown must begin, and it must begin now. We must prepare and deploy our units to all and any known built-up areas across our country now. President Higgins, you must give these great men and women the power to enforce this task now.
How fucking surreal is all this?
Together we stand.
Coronavirus.
Despite the risk of getting slapped by a cabin fever crazy MMA fighter or the new measures brought in by the government earlier in the week,
The Gardaí will increase interventions where groups of people are not adhering to recommended social distancing.
unfortunately some people, young people in particular, I don't know fucking why, still aren't taking this shit seriously. Despite the HSE begging people to cop the fuck on, or the temporary mortuaries under construction right now to deal with the expected deaths that are still avoidable, or the fact that the latest research shows that up to 60% of all infections might come from people with no symptoms.
She was in for a fright. Stand by.
Fuck you, Leo. The guards are hardly going to keep us all inside. We are shooting for LC all day, and if we can't go meet our friends or boyfriends in the evening, we'll crack up. Sorry, XX. So let's just leave it on this note for now, alright? With a modern update, down by the Sally Gardens, my love and I did not meet because we're not silent spreading little dickheads. Look, just be sound when you put your nan in the ground. Is that the fucking hard, Jennifer? You've got free unlimited video calls now and everything. Sure, WB Yates himself used to be charged about 12 cents a text back in the day. XX. Until next time, good luck and mind yourselves out there, lads.
And I hope you make it, me old flower.